Hi guys, welcome to the channel of love. Merry Christmas to you all. It is Christmas morning and I can't wait to get my head into this book that I have on my lap. It's called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude by Napoleon Hill, the best-selling author of Think and Grow Rich, and W. Clement Stone. It is 11:33 on this Christmas morning. It's like Christ consciousness is coming through to us, and this book is here to help us on our journey to ascension. Okay, well, let's get started then. We'll start with the introduction. The greatest secret of success is there's no secret. That has been discovered by hundreds of thousands of men and women who have read this book in the 25 years since it was first published. The formula for success, far from being secret, inaccessible, or difficult to understand, is clearly spelled out in the pages that follow. Like those high achievers who preceded you through the ideas herein, you'll find that something wonderful happens to you as a result of your reading, if you are ready. You will achieve physical, mental, and moral health, happiness, wealth, or any other worthwhile goal whose attainment does not violate the laws of God or the rights of your fellow man. Since this edition addresses an entirely new generation of readers, it might be helpful to give some background of the collaboration between the late Dr. Napoleon Hill and me. Think and Grow Rich. In 1937, I owned and operated Combined Registry Company, a national sales organisation devoted exclusively to accident insurance. Maurice Pickus, a well-known sales executive, sales counsellor and lecturer, gave me a book that had just been published titled Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I read it with consuming interest because the philosophy it set forth coincided so closely with my own. In fact, I was so taken by it that I sent copies to every one of my sales representatives throughout the United States. Bingo! I hit the jackpot, for I had made a profitable discovery. I found in Think and Grow Rich a working tool that motivated my sales representatives to motivate themselves to increase their sales and profits, and something more, to acquire wealth through responding to its inspirational self-help action message. From then on, Think and Grow Rich was a standard part of the orientation packet given to all new sales representatives in my companies. I met Hill in person for the first time in 1951. He was then 68 years old and, except for occasional speaking engagements, retired to the life of a country gentleman in Glendale, California. We hit it off immediately. Our conversation sparked an array of ideas, and I urged him to come out of retirement and resume his career in motivational training and writing. He said he would, on one condition, that I be his general manager. I agreed, even though as head of a multi-million-dollar international insurance corporation, I had more than enough work to keep myself busy. Success magazine, which began as a digest-sized publication for members of our PMA Science of Success clubs, was one of the early results of our collaboration. We called it Success Unlimited when we founded it in 1954. Its purpose was to give members a monthly recharge of motivation. We believe that motivation is like a fire. Unless you continue to add fuel, it will go out. The idea worked, and our tiny magazine grew slowly but surely over the years, changing to standard size, shortening its name, and adding pages of national advertising until it developed into the prominent publication it is today. Through all the changes, Success has maintained the fundamental ideas that Hill and I put forth in the first issue. These positive concepts are as vital to the success of achievers of the 80s as they were then. They are at the heart of this book. It may seem incredible to readers who are unfamiliar with the development of self-help literature in this country, but the ideas in this book trace their origins to an interview that Napoleon Hill had in 1908 with the great stillmaker, philosopher and philanthropist Andrew Carnegie. Hill, who had been born into poverty in the hills of Wise County, Virginia in 1883, was blessed with a calm, patient stepmother who persuaded him not to follow his unruly bent, but to gain an education and set high goals for himself. He supported himself in college by working as a newspaper and magazine journalist. He hoped to eventually be able to attend law school. That changed, however, one day when he was assigned to interview Carnegie. The great man was so impressed by the young writer that he invited him to his home as a guest. They visited virtually non-stop for 3 days. The older man romanced the lives of the great philosophers and the impact their ideas had had on civilization through the centuries. It made a great impression on young Hill, who listened with rapt attention. A challenge. Andrew Carnegie knew human nature. One way to motivate an aggressive extrovert with a high energy level who has drive and stick to inventiveness, and whose reason and emotions are in balance, is to challenge him. The young guest was such a person, and Carnegie devised an intriguing challenge for him. What is there in the climate of this great nation that I, a foreigner, can build a business and acquire wealth? Carnegie asked. How is it that everyone here can achieve success? And before Hill could answer, he continued, I challenge you to devote 20 years of your life to the study of the philosophy of American achievement and come up with an answer. Will you accept? Yes, exclaimed Hill. Andrew Carnegie had an obsession. Anything in life that is worth having was worth working for. He was willing to give the young author his personal time to consult with him, to give him letters of introduction to the outstanding Americans of the day, and to reimburse him for any necessary out-of-pocket expenses such as travelling to meet with his interview subjects. But otherwise, Hill was on his own, and he would have to earn his own livelihood while working on the project. In the 20 years that followed, Hill interviewed more than 500 successful men. Among them were Henry Ford, William Wrigley Jr., William Wrigley Jr., John Wanamaker, George Eastman, John D. Rockefeller, Thomas A. Edison, Theodore Roosevelt, Albert Hubbard, J. Ogden Armour, Luther Burbank, Dr. Alexander Graham Bell, and Julius Rosenwald. Hill did earn his own livelihood by applying many of the principles he learned from Carnegie and the men he interviewed. At last, in 1928, he completed his 8-volume work, Law of Success. These books, which were reprinted around the world and are still in print, motivated thousands of men to become outstanding achievers. On the recommendation of Senator Jennings Randolph, Hill became an advisor to 2 presidents of the United States, Woodrow Wilson and Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He influenced decisions that affected the course of American history. While he was working with Roosevelt, 7 years after the publication of Law of Success, Hill began writing the manuscript of Think and Grow Rich. It was an immediate bestseller, and it has been in continuous demand ever since. Untold millions of people have read it and recommended it to others, just as I did. Think and Grow Rich builds on the basic principles of Andrew Carnegie's philosophy as spelled out by Hill in Laws of Success. What Hill and I undertook to do in this book, and I believe we accomplished it, was to distill the essence of both into a context that would make them immediately accessible, and something more. Success through a positive mental attitude tells you specifically how to use the most magnificent machine ever conceived, a machine so awesome that only God himself could create it. This machine is your brain and your nervous system, a human computer from which the electronic computer was designed as to function, but which it can never equal. Success through a positive mental attitude instructs you on exactly what to do and how to do it in order to tap the powers of your subconscious mind and put them to work for you. Think for a moment. Have you ever been taught how to constructively use, neutralize, control, or harmonize with your passions, emotions, instincts, tendencies, feelings, moods, and habits of thought and action? Have you ever been taught exactly how to aim high and achieve your goals regardless of the obstacles? If your answer is no, congratulations, for you are on the verge of self-discovery. You will be taught these things if you read and apply the principles in this book. Results are what count. Every inspirational self-help action book should be judged by one immutable test: results. That is, by whether or not it motivated the reader to motivate himself to desirable action. By this standard, success through a positive mental attitude is reputed to be one of the most successful books of its type ever published. Napoleon Hill who died in 1970, counted it among his greatest accomplishments. In the 25 years since it first appeared in bookstores, more than 900,000 copies have been printed. Our readers have had phenomenal results in changing their lives for the better, in meeting daily problems courageously, and bringing their desires into reality. Og Mandino, renowned motivational speaker and author of The Greatest Salesman in the World and a string of other best-selling books, was one of those who experienced great changes in his life as a result of reading Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, and he describes what happened to him in his preface. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale wrote to me when I told him about this new publication, saying, "Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude is one of the few creative motivational books of our time. It should be on the required list of anyone who desires success." Another outstanding motivator, Dennis Waitley, author of Seeds of Greatness and Philosophy of Winning, told me, "Your all-time classic changed my life from that of an also ran to a front runner." Napoleon Hill gave me the start, and you are a constant source of inspiration to me today. I tell people, if you want to be an enduring winner, read Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude once a year. I do, and I learn something new from it each time. Reverend Robert H. Sculler told me, "Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude is one of the 10 books that has most impacted my faith and my philosophy. It is a premier book, a classic book, a historic book on one of the most important subjects a person can study. No person's education is complete without the concepts you and Napoleon Hill articulated in it so wisely and so well." But perhaps the most gratifying evidence of the book's results over the years has been the many individuals who have approached me after speaking engagements and asked me to autograph their copies. Almost invariably, they tell me, "I want to thank you for changing my life with this book." While I could give thousands of such testimonials, the greatest one would be yours when you learn and apply the principles in this book. Special instructions. Read this book as though we, the authors, were your personal friends and were writing to you and you alone. Underscore sentences, quotations, and words that are meaningful to you. Memorize self-motivators. Keep in mind at all times that the purpose of this book is to motivate you to desirable action. Abraham Lincoln developed the habit of trying to learn from the books he read, the people he met, and from casual events in daily life. These gave him ideas for reflection, and through it, he was able to recognise, relate, assimilate, and use ideas as his own. You too can convert your creative thinking, artistic talent, knowledge, personality, and physical energy into success, wealth, and happiness. This book tells you how, and if you will let it, it will motivate you to try. Look for the message in it that is applicable to you. When you recognise it, pay attention. Get into action. To direct your mind into desired channels, try to answer each question at the end of every chapter during your thinking and planning time. To borrow a phrase from Pat Ryan, President and CEO of Combined International, the insurance company I founded, it's impossible for you to conceive how far up is, except for the limitations of your own mind. W. Clement Stone. And that is the introduction to success through a positive mental attitude. I will talk to you guys soon. Until then, take care, much love, Merry Christmas, bye for now.